Live?
We're live, my friend.
Yeah.
Here we go. Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Lester Wiltfong. I am substituting in for the usual host of the Gamblers Den, JB himself, Jeff Berckes. He is on a little bit of a mini vacay this weekend, so he asked me to step in and take over. So the picks that I'm making today will be kind of a combination of his stuff, my stuff. But as always, we have Ross Reed here at Ross Reed on Twitter. Make sure you guys are all following him. He's here to make all his sensational picks like he always does each week. Ross, how you doing, my friend?
Man, Lester, you and I go way back.
We do.
We way back. It's good to be back on the mic with you again. I need you to bring me some luck this week. I need to get back to at least even. I'm so close. I'm so there. I'm doing so well in the picks wise. And but this part right here, I need to get back to even. So hopefully this week we can make some money.
This will be the week. Yeah, the first time, one of my very first podcast appearances with you. Yeah. It was the Mac and Reed show. Yeah. That was on Chicago Sports.
Yes.
That was the school, right?
It was. Yeah. We were doing our show out of the Illinois School of Broadcasting down in the South Loop. We were doing it live, and then we switched it to the so it was actually a radio show, and then we switched it to the podcast. But yeah, you were one of our favorite guests to come on.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
I drop that knowledge once in a while here.
Yes, sir.
All right, so are you ready to get this kicked off here?
I'm ready to roll. We got a game on right now. It's 10-7 halftime. Trevor Lawrence and Russell Wilson both have a touchdown and an interception. But Trevor Lawrence, 11 of 19 so far, only 80 yards. Woof.
How about that? How about old Russell's? Is he living up to the hype?
I mean, he's better. He's 12 of 19 for 117 yards right now. So I mean, it's better, but I think London after this game is going to be like, can you Americans just keep your football, please? We don't want it. We want it. We'll keep your Ted Lasso, but but take your American football back.
It's rough. Those games over there are usually pretty rough. What's your take on Russell Wilson, man? Is he going to be okay there in Denver, or is he just kind of, is he working through some stuff, or is this like really going to go downhill for the Broncos?
Yeah, I think that when Russell stopped scrambling, back because he got a little bit older, it really hindered his game. But with all that said, I think Nathaniel Hackett is an absolute moron. And so he probably should not have a job. He might not have a job after this game. He might be fired. But I think the new ownership who they did not hire Nathaniel Hackett, so they're not married to him. They got plenty of money. I think they're going to pay him to make him go away, and they've got to get a better situation in there because you can't trade Russell Wilson. You're sitting on that contract. I know Jerry Jeudy has been the talk of in trade talks. I'm like, why? Why would you trade him? You don't have a young quarterback. You can't press the reset button because your quarterback is in his 30s. You might as well keep those guys and try to run it back next year with a better situation and hopefully a better coach. But yeah, Hackett ain't it, man.
Yeah, that's a rough situation. So we're going to jump into it here. Unfortunately, I can't move these poker chips around, man. I want to do it, but I work off of Apple. My Microsoft PowerPoint was not cooperating with me at all. So we're just going to make our picks, and we're going to go here. But is it me or you, Ross? Who goes first here?
It doesn't matter usually, but I don't mind going first. I can kick this puppy.
Why don't you kick it off? You are the veteran of the show, so this should be you kicking things off.
I appreciate that. Well, I'm going to take it to the very, very top right corner with the Titans and the Texans today. Listen, this is a home game for Houston, but they're a bad football team. They cannot stop the run. I am going to, if we were moving chips around, I would put an orange chip today, a $50 chip on the Titans to cover that -2 spread. And we'll see later on in this segment. I got a little picks wise action with Derrick Henry. Listen, the Texans, they stink against the run, right? Yeah. And we know that even though Malik Willis is a starting quarterback today, I actually like Malik Willis a lot. Shout out to Liberty University. But I think this is a huge Derrick Henry game early and often. Take the Titans plus -2 on the road today.
I'm excited to see Malik Willis run the ball. I think Malik Willis is his athleticism. I think the Titans I don't know. It's like Ryan Tannehill is he's a guy. He's nothing special. And I think the quicker that they pull the Band-Aid off and let him do his thing, I think the better. So I like that pick. For me, I'm going to go Panthers plus 4.5. Last week they smoked the Buccaneers.
Yeah,
it came out of the blue, but this is they have a pretty good defense over there in Carolina. So, if you're looking at Carolina plus 4.5 against the Falcons, yeah, it's in Atlanta, but the Falcons are not that good. The defense ain't the best. The Panthers will run the ball. They're run heavy. The Falcons, are going to have some problems here. And then the Falcons want to run the ball. And the Panthers are pretty good against the run. Quarterback P.J. Walker, I think he is set to have his big breakout game. The Falcons have the worst defense in the league. So I'm going Panthers plus 4.5. And like I said, if I was doing the big chips, I'd go big chip on this. I think the Panthers were going to win this game outright. So giving them 4.5 to me, that's a no-brainer.
I like that. Listen, speaking of morons, Arthur Smith, bro, you have Kyle Pitts and Drake London on your team and you don't get them the football. Somebody take this guy in the back too and beat his ass, because there's no reason why you should not be getting these guys the football. That is the future of your football team. If I was the GM and the owner, I'd be so pissed off that I wasted, or not wasted, because I think they're both good football players, but that you invested these high draft picks in these guys and your head coach refuses to run the football. I like that pick a lot. I don't understand why the Panthers are plus 4.5 in this game. Like you said, the Falcons aren't good, and PJ Walker is a very capable quarterback. And Arthur Smith, man, he just does not want to get the football to his best weapons. I am going to take this to Detroit today. And listen, the Dolphins minus 3.5. I just think the Lions are done. I think they're cooked. I think my guy who's up there, Dan Campbell, who's like, I'll beat your ass with 2 ass cheeks, or whatever the hell he said in Hard Knocks and all that stuff. I think he's done. I think this team is just on life support, and I like the Dolphins a lot today, minus 3.5. I'm going to take them with that. I'm going to put an orange chip on there. Listen, they can't stop the pass at all. Alan Williams, defensive coordinator, that whole situation is absolutely brutal. And then you put Tyreek Hill on that football field, and you put Jalen Waddle on that football field, and Mike Gesicki on that football field. And I just think that there's going to be a ton of points today on the Dolphins side. I think they're going to be able to cover. I think that Tua is going to be much better 1 week removed from coming back from that concussion situation. And I just think they're going to put the football in their best playmakers' hands and let them go run. And I don't see how the Lions are going to be able to stop that. The
Lions, you said they're cooked, man. It's like this was the darling of the NFL during Hard Knocks, of course, because Dan Campbell was so fun to watch. But this is who this team always was going to be. I mean, it's frustrating. I've liked the last few drafts. I thought they've added some really good talent, but for some reason, it's not coming together, which ultimately falls on Campbell. So I think this might be Campbell's, last year in the Motor City. I like that one. For me, I'm going to go the orange chip here. I'm going Cardinals plus 3.5. The Cardinals are, that's a pretty good football team. They have their issues, are up and down, but the Vikings, I just don't trust the Vikings. Yeah, they're 5-1, but come on, we're talking about the Minnesota Vikings here. That defense is awful. I just think that Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins is too much. We saw them last week. It was the first week they were together, and it was like old hat with those guys. Murray chucked it up to Hopkins. I think he had close to 50% of the target share. But that's the guy. If you got him on your team, you got to go to him. So I think he's just going to be too much for an awful Vikings pass rush. So I'm going Cardinals plus 3.5 today.
Yeah, I like it a lot, man. I mean, hopefully it was good to see Kyler Murray get some fire underneath his belt in that last game, right? He's yelling at Cliff Kingsbury on the sidelines.
That's a strange dynamic, man. The head coach, quarterback. It's supposed to be the best relationship on the team.
Yep.
And you look at those two guys, you're like, these guys don't like each other.
They don't. They know. But luckily for the Cardinals, they've got Nuke Hopkins back. He had a great game last time. They've had a little bit of a layoff, and the Vikings defense not very good, like you mentioned, right? And they can't stop the pass, in my opinion. And so Kyler Murray should be able to have a big game. Excuse me, I like that a lot. My underdog pick of the week has got to be the Washington Commanders, who I think is a good football team. Whenever Taylor Heineke is their quarterback, I think he's able to scramble, move things around. But there's also a bet against the Colts right now, who are just in a free for all. They benched Matt Ryan this week. They've got Sam Ehlinger in there. They're going to try and lean heavily today on the running back that's coming back. But I like the Commanders +3 on the road today. I just think that is a better football team from top to bottom. I think they're going to be able to at least cover that spread, but I actually think, if I was doing a little money line action, I would pick them to win that football game today.
I mean, the Commanders has a really stout defensive front. I mean, they're really good up front. We saw that as Bears fans. We saw what happened there with them. They're pretty good up there. And why don't they ever give Heineke a chance?
Right.
I know that the national perspective is he's not a good quarterback, but I don't know, man. I watch him play. He makes things happen. He scrambles all around out there. He does stuff with the legs. He keeps plays alive, but he's not afraid to go downfield with it. I never understood the Wentz thing. I mean, I could see if you're upgrading clearly over Heineke, but Carson Wentz, come on, man. That guy fell off a few years ago. He's been awful, so that made no sense to me. So yeah, I like that pick. Well, I think Washington's going to win that game as well. So for me, I'm going to stay with the Cardinals Vikings game with an orange chip here. I like the over on the 49 points. I just think it's going to be a shootout. I already talked about Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins. They're going to put up points. Okay. The Vikings, while their defense is awful, come on, Kirk Cousins coming off a bye, Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, they have a nice offense over there. They're going to put up points as well. To me, 49 points, I don't go a lot of overs and be confident about it, but I think this one, to me, that's the easy one right there. How about you? You like that one?
I am in agreement with you. I'm going to put a blue chip on there as well. That 49 looks way too low to me. These are two defenses that are not very good, like you mentioned, but these are two dynamic offenses that can put some things in the air. Kirk Cousins, this is not prime time Kirk Cousins. This is like 12 o'clock noon, like on the 7th TV at Buffalo Wild Wings, Kirk Cousins, which means he's going to have like 420 yards today. And then Kyler Murray is going to do that really goofy thing when he runs around in 3 circles and then throws like 4 touchdowns. And so I like it a lot as well. I'm going to take the over with that as well. I put a blue chip on there too.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
Do you want to go next now?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to New Orleans next. And speaking of over unders, I kind of like the over in this Saints versus Raiders game. I think that both of these offenses are going to be able to put some points up. I know Andy Dalton. Well, listen, he put some points up on his own about 10 days ago, right? Because he threw touchdowns for his team and he threw touchdowns for the other team as well. But I just think that I would take the over today with that Raiders game. I think that this is a get-back game for the Raiders. I think that Devontae Adams is kind of getting into a groove of things. But also, listen, the Saints can score. They can put some points on the board here. And the Alvin Kamara situation is very interesting to look at. He's been on the trade block maybe. I don't know if I necessarily believe in that. But I think that both of these teams are going to be able to score today indoors on the turf. I would take the over in that football game.
That's going. What's that they have Kamara on the block, and the rumor is they want a first for him. Right. Nobody's giving a first round pick for a running back. I like Kamara. I think he's good because he can do a little bit of both in the run game, pass game. But at his age, at his situation, his contract, a first round draft pick, I think they're just kind of fluffing it up with someone, either his agent or someone's out there putting some weird information out there.
Well, he's got the legal situation too. He beat some dude up in an elevator.
That's Vegas. Right. Yeah. Well, it's just come on. I mean, no one's giving up a first round pick this day and age for a running back unless you're like truly elite and special. And I think he's a little tier below that. So, all right, I'm going with the Buffalo Bills, Green Bay Packers. It's a big number, man. The Bills are giving up 11.5 points, but I like Buffalo to cover this. I think that they're in Buffalo. Aaron Rodgers, he had his little speech after the last game, and he did his thing. And we've seen him do this before, where he's kind of come out and he's talked about stuff that, the RESPECT thing he had a few years back. And, when things go bad, he usually rallies the troops. But I don't think the troops care right now because he doesn't have much troops to rally. That's not a very good offense. They didn't do much there at receiver. Aaron Rodgers got a dinged up thumb, so who knows where he is at right now. And I didn't realize this until just recently, but the Packers have never won a game in Buffalo ever in the history of the franchise, which is kind of strange. Yeah, they haven't played more than I think 12, 13 games, but still that's kind of odd. So, man, I'm taking the Bills and I'm giving the Pack that 11.5.
Yes. Hey, listen, it could get bad tonight. That's a Sunday night football game. This feels like this is the beginning of the end for that whole Packers reign. Yes. Hey, listen, we love it here as Bears fans. Obviously, I like that a lot. I'm going to stick with that game for my last bet, and I'm actually going to take the over at the 47.5. I think that Buffalo is going to be the Buffalo can probably put up 25, 30 points by themselves in that football game today. I think that's how dominant of an offense that they have, especially at home in prime time. And I think the Packers are going to be able to put some garbage time points up as well. So while I think that I like your bet a lot at Buffalo taking the over, I think that we're going to get points on both sides here. And I think that that 47.5 is going to go over.
Do you think the Bills can cover that 11.5?
I think they can. Absolutely. Listen, This Packers team is in complete disarray right now. Their defense has been rough, right? Rodgers right now, he can't score. He doesn't have any trust in his receivers. He's calling them out. This feels like it's just the beginning of the end. And Buffalo has to be one of the two best teams in football right now. It's them and the Philadelphia Eagles, right? And they want to make a statement at home against a legend. And you heard all week Josh Allen is saying, well, I admired, Aaron Rodgers. He's one of my idols and stuff like that, which means that he wants to absolutely smoke this dude tonight. And I love it. And I'm all in on Josh Allen tonight. Expect him to have a huge football game. I probably mix in a little Gabriel Davis anytime touchdown in there too, if you want to get a little jazzy with it.
Nice. So you mentioned that was your last bet. Do you have any more you want to go over?
That's it. I'm done. I'm going to stay away from that Bears situation. It's super tempting at the plus 9.5. It's so tempting. But I'm going to stay away and just root for them to win.
I had a few more because I wasn't sure. I talked to JB and I'm like, should I have the whole 10 picked here? He's like, go like 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so I had 8 things prepped here, but I'm good stopping here because, like I said, a little bit on a pre-show. This is JB's gig. I'm more of a casual gambling fan, but I do want to quickly mention that Bears game. And one thing I noticed, this from years ago, I've always known this. A team that plays Monday Night Football on the road, and then they have to go on the road the very next Sunday. I'm not sure if that trend is still continued, but those guys usually don't win that next game. Road to road with the short week, usually not on a good situation, and that's where the Bears are. I know in our tally side picks at WCG, I think I did pick them to cover, but I would not be surprised to see the Bears lose this game big. But I also think the Bears offense is going to be able to put a few points up here. I think they have a good system now, a good system in place with Luke Getsy. I think he kind of understood what he has to do to get this offense to run. So, but yeah, I'm like you. I want to stay away from that game, but let's hope that they pull out the dub.
Let's hope so, right? You hope that last week in New England wasn't a kitchen sink game, right? Where they just threw everything out there. You hopefully that this is a continuity game. They're going to keep building week after week. Go Bears.
For sure. All right, let's go on to the prize picks, 100% prize picks code with the promo code BEARS, which is, I don't know how JB got that code, but that's an awesome code there. So we'll let you kick this off as well.
Yeah, this is one area where I'm hot at, right? So you might want to keep riding with me on this area here. I like a whole lot of overs today, just to give you a heads up. I'm going to kick this off. I told you about the Titans. I told you about how bad the Texans are against the run. 100.5 is a huge number for Derrick Henry. Guess what? I still like the over today for him. This guy can go for like 175 yards today against that Texans defense. So I would take the over on Derrick Henry's rushing yards today at 100.5. They won't let me bet 2 players at once, but I promise you he's getting in the end zone today too if you want to put a little sprinkle on that somehow.
Nice. Derrick Henry's not slowing down. I mean, a lot of times at running backs at his age, we talk about the elite. He is still that elite guy, even at his age right now. I like that one there with Derrick Henry. Now, the last picks were all mine. These are all JB's. I want to make sure. I told JB, look, man, you had a real good run here going with the prize picks. Just give me yours. So these are all JB's picks. But you know what? I looked over them all, and I'm going to put my money on these as well. I like what he did here. And you too, man. I was telling JB last week, every week I tune in, I wake up, and this is what I do. I put on your guys' show and I wait and see what you guys have your prize picks, and I go into my phone and I make my bets here. And each week I'm a little profitable, so I love what you guys are doing here with these picks here, but JB is going to go Dak Prescott. He is taking the under on 1.5 touchdowns. I don't know if this is faith he has in the no-fly zone for the Bears back there. What's going on? Eddie Jackson's having a pretty good game. Kyler Gordon's coming into his own. Jaquan Brisker, he has looked pretty good here this entire season. Jalen Jones is back. So, Dak Prescott under 1.5 pass touchdowns. Do you like that one? I
like it. Absolutely. I mean, listen, they're going to try and run the football today. They're going to try and keep Justin Fields off the football field, right? Micah Parsons is hurt, even though he still looks like he's going to play today, but they want to be able to do a ball control offense. And so even if Zeke is not going to play, Tony Pollard is still a very good running back, but yeah, I like that a lot. Taking the under on the Dak Prescott. He didn't look very comfortable last week coming back off that thumb injury against the Lions. So hopefully that continues for the Bears and they can get bad Dak today.
Yeah, I
Yep.
actually have Dak on my dynasty fantasy league, so I was like, I want those 400-yard games again. But man, where's he been? So yeah, go ahead. What's your next one?
Yeah, I mean, again, we talked about how the Lions are terrible on defense. They can't stop the pass. Why wouldn't I take Tyreek Hill? Another huge over, 85.5 yards is a big number. I still like the over for him today. Listen, I'm taking the over on that. I just think that Tua is going to get the football in his hands early and often. I think there's going to be a lot of quick throws, quick slants, quick outs, and then I can just see Tyreek Hill running all day against that Lions secondary that absolutely is just hot garbage on a stick. Okuda it cannot be able to hang with this guy. Even if you wanted to put a little Jalen Waddle in there as well, you could. I think his number was about 60-something yards. But I like the over for both of those guys today. I just went with Hill in this situation.
Yeah, Hill has been, he has been everything as advertised. We talk about those elite players, man. He is an elite receiver. He just does, so much damage with the ball in his hands. For JB here, he's going that Buffalo game, and I like this one as well. He's going over Stephon Diggs receiving touchdowns. And, I talked about it in the last segment, man. I just see the Bills putting up a ton of points here, and Diggs is Josh Allen's guy. He's going to get him involved. It's prime time. Stephon Diggs, he's going to get a touchdown. He may get 2. I'm hoping he gets 3. I think that would be awesome just to see them really pile it on, drop 50 on the Packers, and that would be a very happy Bears fan.
Absolutely. I like it. Tua Tagovailoa, I'm staying with this game, man. I like this game a lot. 23.5 pass completions. I'm taking the over on that. I don't think the Dolphins can run the ball very well. Guess what? It doesn't matter today. They're going to try and throw the football. Like I said, they're going to try and use their passing game to move down the football field against the Lions. I like for Tua to get over to 23.5 completions today. I just think that this is a huge get-back game for him. I think that, McDaniel, the head coach, wants to get his quarterback comfortable again and get him into a groove coming off that concussion situation. And, let's go with the over. Let's get him 24 completions today.
That worked for me. With JB, he's staying with that Buffalo game, staying with that Buffalo offense. He's going Devin Singletary, running back. He's going over 78.5 rushing and receiving yards. The Packers are going to try and blitz. They're going to try and come after Josh Allen a little bit. And, a good blitz beat, of course, are those screens. They're going to catch Singletary a few times. He's going to get some yards there. And then, of course, they're going to run the rock. If they do get up big, they may kind of, close this out with Singletary. So, yeah, I like what he's doing here with 78.5 rushing, receiving, over.
Oh, I like it. Deontay Foreman, right? Bye Christian McCaffrey. He's hurt. Chuba Hubbard got hurt last week. Guess what? Deontay Foreman was the best running back that they had last week in that football game. He looked like the best Panther running the football all season, even with Christian McCaffrey. I like him to take the over today against the Falcons. I think that he's going to be able to continue that. I think this is going to be a heavy dose of Foreman. I can see him breaking another long run like he did last week. That 66.5 looks a little bit too low for me. I'm taking the over on him today to get those rushing yards. I just feel like he's going to be there's nobody else behind him, right? They don't really have anybody else to run the football. And I like him a lot today.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I mean, that Panther offense, it's PJ Walker's show now, and like you said, there are no other running backs there. So who the hell else is going to get the ball? It's going to be Foreman. That's a good one. For JB here, he's going Nick Chubb, Cleveland tailback, rushing yards 82.5. He's going with the over. But there's some talk about Hunt on the trade block. So we'll kind of see if maybe there's a mandate. Hey, let's scale some of his work back to keep him fresh. We'll see what happens here. But I like Chubb, man. He's one of the best running backs in the NFL today. That Bengals run defense is not the best. You may get him caught up there. But, yeah, it's a kind of a big number here. But it's not quite as big as the Derrick Henry one. But still, 82.5 rushing yards. Jeff's going to go over on that one.
Absolutely. Jeff loves himself some Nick Chubb. He puts Nick Chubb in these bets like every week. I'm not mad at it, man, because he's one of the most consistent running backs in the league.
He is. Yeah, I wonder if he's on one of his fantasy teams, so he just likes to keep fluffing up his guy.
Yep, absolutely. My last bet is a game that's going on right now, and guess what, Lester? This bet literally hit while we were talking about 2 minutes ago. Greg Dulcich, how do you say his name?
I think that's close enough. Yeah,
close enough, right?
He's a rookie, man. We have to wait a couple years for him to get his name pronounced correctly in this show.
Hey, you know what? This guy is a rookie, but he is a number one tight end.
He
This
is.
guy has 4 catches for 87 yards in this football game already right now. And he just, I'm watching it right in front of me. He just had 1 yard short of getting a touchdown. This guy is a potential superstar. We talk about Russell Wilson getting back on track. This guy is the leader for it. As long as Prize Picks wants to give me this low of a line and not even put his freaking picture in the in the profile, you're disrespecting my guy. I'm going to take your free money every single time. He has 87 passing yards already in this game, receiving yards, excuse me. That 30.5 was way too low. I jumped on it as soon as I saw it.
Yeah, it seems too low, especially with a guy like Russ Wilson, who has shown that he wants to go to the tight ends when he has a chance to. You know, he likes taking those free money plays in the flat with guys like the tight end, the tailback once in a while. So that's a good one there. For Jeff's final one, I talked about this one earlier, and then it's the Cardinals, DeAndre Hopkins, receiving targets. I mentioned he was close to a 50% target share in that first game with Kyler Murray. So 10.5 reception targets. JB has taken the over on this. That's going to happen. You know, Kyler Murray's going to feed him often. You know, he is going to go to him. With DeAndre Hopkins, he's one of those few guys that he's open when he's not open. You know, if you throw the ball to him, if you put it in a good spot, he will go make a play on that ball. So Kyler Murray trusts going to Hopkins in any situation. So 10.5 receiving targets. Come on, that's easy one.
This is one of my favorite creative bets that JB has had in a while. I love this. I'm actually, as soon as we get off, I'm going to throw some money on this myself because I completely agree. He might get to 12, 15 targets today, right? I love that bet. Love it, love it, love it.
And that's a wrap, man. We did it. I managed.
We did it. I got it
through the show. The first segment of the show. I got the fantasy coming up with Erik Smith of the QB list. But Ross, man, I appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the games today.
Thank you. You too. Good
to
see you,
my
brother.
Friend. We'll take it easy. Erik Smith of the QB list. What's up, my friend? How you doing?
I'm great. How are you today?
Hey, man, I love it. I always tell JB, man, the first thing I do on Sunday mornings, I wake up, I put on the show, I go through it, I listen to all the picks they guys make, I listen to the fantasy advice you guys dish out, and I love being a part here, you know, but I am going to let you kind of lead the ship here. As far as the daily fantasy goes, this is actually Jeff's lineup, but let's go through your lineup and let's see kind of what your strategy was this week in picking your team.
Yeah, for sure. So Jeff and I seem to pick the same lineup every week, so I'm interested to see a little bit of a difference here. I listening to you all before. I mean, Ross is super high on the Dolphins today, and I'm feeling the exact same way. I mean, I felt like Tua with a either Tyreek or Waddle was the move to go here against Detroit, and I just decided to go with both of them. I couldn't decide, so I picked them both. I see a lot of points for Miami against Detroit here. We've seen them, both Tyreek and Waddle, kind of pay off in the same week, so I thought that was a way to just really load up on that game. And I always like to have someone on the other side of things too. So I've got Amon-Ra St. Brown here as well for the Lions, just figuring if Miami gets up big, he's going to get a lot of targets. He looks like he's healthy. Like, I've seen a lot of people questioning whether they should play him this week, Amon-Ra St. Brown. The only time he has not been good this year has been injury related. So if he's on the field and ready to go, I think we can definitely chase him. So
there was some talk of a concussion with him. I think he was cleared, though. He's good to go.
Yeah. So I mean, he just had to leave a couple games early. Other than that, it's been the Amon-Ra St. Brown from last year. So I think he's kind of overlooked right now. So other than that, just kind of rounding out the roster. We love Wan'Dale Robinson at QB list. We think he's underrated. He's basically the Giants' lead receiver at this point by default. They love him. He's ramping up the snaps. So I think that's a nice spot against Seattle. And then, I think Tony Pollard is a pretty clear one with Zeke out. This is kind of what we've been waiting for a couple of years here. So let's see what he can do. But 6,300, he's going to be played a ton. So this isn't out on the limb pick, but you may need him at the end of the day.
Jeff has the Pollard pick as well on his side of things. So yeah, I like what you got going on there. Real quick about Wan'Dale Robinson. Do you think he is the Giants' number one receiver now on that offense?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, they just traded out Kadarius Toney. The names ahead of him are not exciting. When they drafted him this year, they were talking about him starting from day one, and he's just run into some injury stuff. But the coaching staff seems to love him. So he's a slot receiver. That's kind of where you get Seattle. They've been good on the outside against receivers. So I just think he fits in with the game flow, especially if Geno keeps looking like Geno. Or I'm sorry, that's the other side of the ball. Daniel Jones keeps looking like Daniel Jones. Either way, we just want this game, up in the higher scores. So I think Seattle can get a lead, and that's going to force the Giants to play catch up. And that's why I have Seattle's defense here. Is I still think Daniel Jones will turn the ball over. So I expect some points, but let's rack up some sacks here too as the Giants trail.
let's go over to JB's board real quick. He's got Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown, double dip here with the Eagles. Those are actually a pretty good number here. But you like him going with the double Eagles here on his team?
Yeah, I mean, I love AJ Brown, love Jalen Hurts. I've been riding them all year, so I do like that call. We still kind of been waiting for that big AJ Brown blow up week. They do run it a lot. They seem to spread it around. Hurts is obviously going to get his, but I mean, if you're playing in a big tournament, AJ Brown could certainly have a 2-touchdown, 200-yard game one of these weeks. So I love that.
Now, tight end, he has Mike Gesicki, who I have had on a couple fantasy teams, and I am not sure what to do with Gesicki. Is he just not seeing the targets? Why has his production been down so much this year?
Yeah, it's been spotty. It kind of seems game flow dependent on if they're going to use him as that true flexed out tight end option. There was a lot of talk early on that they were going to try to use him as a blocker more, and I think they've abandoned that some as this run game kind of hasn't really gone anywhere, and they know that their passing game's the way to go. So against Detroit, he's certainly a high upside play. So I do like that. He's just like you said, he's unpredictable from week to week. So I went with Irv Smith. The Cardinals is a really good matchup for tight ends so far this year. That can be a little hit or miss. Kind of depends on who they played so far. The tight end position is kind of a weird one, but it's basically Seattle and Arizona giving up by far the most points to tight ends, and everyone else is behind them. So that's kind of the thought with Irv Smith, an upside play. Let's see if he kind of finally breaks out. We've been waiting for him to break out for a few years now. So.
I mean, he has the talent. He just, and right now it's his show. I mean, he's the tight end number one there. Yeah. With Smith too, I've had Smith on a couple fantasy teams throughout the last couple of years, and I'm just waiting for it. Yeah. And I don't see it happen. And then real quick, JB has 2 rookie receivers in his thing here: Drake London, Alec Pierce. I want to ask you real quick about Pierce. I have Pierce in my dynasty league. Is Pierce a guy? I mean, he seems like he's trending towards being one of their top targeted guys here. Do you believe what's been happening with Pierce the last few weeks?
I do, but now we have a quarterback change.
Yeah, so Sam Ellinger. Yeah, I'm sure it's going to affect it a little bit here because he's not the talent of Ryan.
Yeah, so you've got the different connections, see who he prefers, all of that. But Matt Ryan was chucking the ball 60 times a game too. I mean, it was just crazy how much they were throwing. I would expect the volume to come down, but rookie receivers don't generally come in and produce like Pierce has so far. So that's a super encouraging sign for him for Dynasty. Just what he's done right now gets him out of the rookie bust category already. So I think long-term is great for him, and he could be a sneaky play. I mean, Washington's secondary is not good. So this could be a sneaky spot. I wonder if the passing volume comes down without Ryan.
Yeah, and then real quick, I want to get your take on DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, we saw him come back last week. He got a ton of targets. Is he as for the fantasy realm? Is he back truly established as the top receiving dog in the fantasy world here again?
Yeah, I mean, Ryan Heath, who I do the Sit Start podcast with, he does the receiver rankings each week. He's got him wide receiver 15 this week. So he's kind of penciling right back in. He probably could jump up into the 10s very easily. So he's back to the Hopkins of old. I think we've seen him get banged up before and lose production, but when he's healthy and he's out there, he's still an elite fantasy wide receiver. So, as long as he stays healthy, we're playing Hopkins every week.
Yeah, I had a feeling there'd be a small ramp-up period, a couple weeks where he'd get him back in the swing of things, but that didn't happen, man. They were just it was like the Cardinals of old. It was just let's chuck it up there to Hopkins, see what happens there. So
yeah, Kyler missed him, I think. He was very happy to have him back.
Yeah, it's crazy for sure. All right, man, that's some good fantasy stuff. Let's jump over to our Survivor, and I'm working the board here instead of JB, so, bear with me here. Let's see if I got it. Oh, I did it here. So I have Apple, so my PowerPoint is not cooperating with me today. So JB already has his pick up there, but I know it is your turn to go first. But he told me since you already had the Eagles, he can't go Philly. So that's why Philly's already sitting up there. So we will get the board all situated for next week. But man, JB took a strike last week. He's 3 strikes down here.
Yep.
With the Patriots. I cannot believe you went against the beloved Chicago Bears there with that pick there. But the Patriots is his 3rd strike, but like he's been talking about all year. You guys are going to carry the Survivors going on just to kind of see what happens, whether you strike out or not. So, but it's your turn to go first. So let's see what you got here.
Yeah, so this is a tough one. I wasn't here last week, so glad to see Dustin.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, he got the Jets for me, so I don't have to worry about the Jets. That sounds great to me. So I can skip them for the rest of the year. It's starting to get tough now. I don't really like a lot of my options. Eagles would have been number 1, but they're off my board. I could go just spread-wise. I could go Cowboys, but I don't really want to do that on the show against the Bears, so I'm going to skip that one. So I'm going to go a little off the board here. I just got to make sure I haven't picked them. Let's go with the Dolphins against the Lions. It seems like it's been the theme of the show. It's only a 3.5 spread, and they're on the road, but it just feels like the lines are trending in the wrong direction. So that's kind of where I'm going. I'm going with the Dolphins. I was also considering, I can't believe the line is only one, the Titans over the Texans. The Titans have some issues, but I trust them to beat the Texans. They seem to be a winning team, So I kind of thought that. The lines are a little weird this week. So I just, there aren't a lot of slam dunks. So give me the Dolphins.
Do you trust the Titans with Malik Willis at quarterback now?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, you got to keep up with this stuff, I guess.
It's hard, right? Yeah.
Even with him, though, I mean, I don't know,
so.
30 attempts from Derrick Henry and a bad Texans run defense, I don't know. But yeah, that takes that off the board. So Miami for me, you can make a case for the Colts, but that's another quarterback change. There's just not a lot on the board this week.
It's a rough week if you're making this picks here. I am intrigued by that Titans game. I want to see how they use Malik Willis.
Yeah,
I think his running skills could open things up for those guys, and I want to see if they come up with any really creative packages there for him, because they've known he's going to be the guy now for the whole week, so they probably have a few things put in here. But as you guys can see, JB has the Eagles as his pick, and they're coming off a bye. They're giving up 10.5 points, but that just tells you everyone thinks they're going to win. The Eagles, man, undefeated. I don't think they're gonna keep this up the whole season, but they just made the big trade for Robert Quinn. I'm not sure if they're going to start him off the bat or not. He may be more of a situational pass rusher. I think he's 31, 32 years old. As a Bears fan, we got a chance to see a lot of Robert Quinn the last few years, but I thought that was a great trade for them. Yeah. I think it's a good trade for the Bears as well. They're getting a 4th-round pick back in return. They already have a very good defense. So adding a guy like Quinn, man, that just ramps things up to another level. So then that offense, man, Jalen Hurts has been balling. He's been doing a really good job there. They got a lot of good stuff going on there. A.J. Brown, the run game's good with Sanders still. Yeah. So, I think JB was happy that he had a chance to go with the Eagles here.
Yep, and I already used him, or I would certainly be on that bandwagon too. So they're a really good team. I think they're even in the talks. We've seen some rumors for Kareem Hunt getting traded from the Browns. I think they're one of the rumored teams there. So yeah, they're going for it this year, and it sure doesn't seem like they're going to let up here in this spot.
Nice. Normally, you guys go over some fantasy basics here in the next segment. Here is that how you guys usually roll this here?
Yeah. So just kind of some topics that I've seen kind of come up through the week. That was one I did want to talk about, was the Kareem Hunt situation.
Yeah,
it does sound like the Browns want to trade him now. So I think if you're in a league that's relatively deep and you have like a roster spot that you just don't know what to do with it, I would go out and add before these games Dearness Johnson. He's the 3rd-string Browns running back. We know how tough running back is to find on the waiver wire. And if Hunt gets traded, he's going to slot in behind Nick Chubb, who, as good as Chubb has been this year, he only plays about 55% of the snaps. So there's a big workload there in Cleveland. So if you have a spot to burn, I would say go pick up Dearness Johnson, see if they trade Kareem Hunt, and that might open up a role for him, just because that Browns running game is so good. The offensive line is so good. There's going to be value there.
I love that. I never thought about that. I had Johnson a couple of years. I picked him up when I think it was when Chubb was hurt.
Yeah,
he put up like a few games in a row. Really, really fantastic yardage there.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. That's a great call. I mean, if Hunt is gone, he's going to slot into those carries. He's pretty good out of the backfield as well. I love that. I think that's a great bit of advice there. As soon as I get off with you, I am going to go check all my teams and see if I have a spot extra for Johnson, because that is awesome. I'm even going to check my Dynasty League. He may be open up, so I hope none of the guys that I play Dynasty with are listening to this right now, because my running backs in my Dynasty League are horrendous. So I'm going to go check on that right now. I actually have Hunt on that team. That's one of my better backs. It tells you how good that room is there. So what else you got this week?
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about like stashes on our Sit Star podcast this week ahead of the trade deadline, because that's Tuesday. So all these players are going to be locked in ahead of that. So, like Kyron Williams is kind of similar on the Rams. It's almost backwards. Like if they don't go trade for a running back, they've really been hyping him up. He's a rookie looking to come off of IR. So he's about 37% rostered in Yahoo League. So he might be out there too. So those are just a couple of names ahead of the trade deadline we thought were worth bringing up. But otherwise, it's kind of there were a lot of questions this week on the Ravens backfield, but that game's already over with. It's kind of a mess with a 3-way committee there. Looks like Deontay Foreman looks like a really solid start this week with Chuba Hubbard banged up for the Panthers. They should be able to run the ball against the Falcons. But, otherwise, it's just kind of keeping up with these inactives ahead of kickoff. We've already touted Wan'Dale Robinson a little bit, just kind of catching up. But I don't know if you have any questions on like quarterback streamers or tight end streamers or anything like that. But just keeping up with the news right now.
I didn't want to ask you about James Robinson, traded to the New York Jets. Obviously, he's taking over Breece Hall there. on a lot of I have him in one of my leagues, and a lot of the stuff I see, they're not projecting very much points. Is that more for because they just don't think he's up to speed in the offense? He's not getting touches quite yet. But do you see him eventually taking over that lead tailback role with the Jets?
I expect it to be like a 1A, 1B sort of thing eventually. I think he's lowly projected this week, because they're going to take their time a little bit. They basically, Robert Saleh claimed they were going to take it slow with him and get him incorporated in the offense. So coaches aren't always truthful with that, but that's what they're saying as of now. So they did call up an undrafted free agent from the practice squad, which would kind of a running back, which would kind of imply that maybe Robinson isn't going to have a big workload. So yeah, I think it's more this week you're worried about Robinson. Going forward, I still think Michael Carter is going to see a lot of the passing game work and probably still rotate in, but I don't see any reason James Robinson won't, kind of get like a 40% to 50% split and be involved in the goal line. So that's what we want for fantasy, right? Is those touchdowns.
Yeah, we want touchdowns. I would want to get your take on Aaron Rodgers. He's kind of seemed to be trending in the wrong direction here. Of course, I'm a Bears fan. Jeff's a Bears fan. We want to see the Packers have as much dismay as possible. Yeah. Do you see Aaron Rodgers? Do you think this trend is going to continue? The downward spiral? Do you think the Packers, their hold on the NFC North is finally going to stop here, or do you think they're going to turn things around?
Yeah, we're kind of giving up on him for fantasy right now, honestly.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, so we've got him like QB 18 this week against Buffalo. I mean, Buffalo's just a brutal defense, so that's part of it. But no, they just don't have any weapons, and I thought they were going to be able to play better defense, run the ball a lot, throw it to the running backs a lot, kind of like I said with Jeff, some of these old Patriots teams that just kind of grinded out wins in the regular season and then turned it on for the playoffs. And it doesn't look like that's happening with the Packers. So they need somebody to make plays. They don't seem like one of those teams that are going to go out and make a big splashy move for a receiver. So I don't know. It looks kind of ugly to me right now. He doesn't look happy. And we did see some down years from him there for a couple of years, as far as, fantasy production. So I think this is legit unless Romeo Doubs or Christian Watson or somebody really takes a leap midseason, because he needs those rookies. Those veterans are just boring kind of retread options that just, they're not going to carry this offense.
It's funny because, as far as the Packers go, Aaron Rodgers, he doesn't want to lean on the rookies.
No,
it doesn't matter the talent they have, whatever they have, the potential. He just doesn't seem to trust them. So the fact that those are probably two of his better weapons now, will he actually try? Will he actually try and get them the ball? I mean, if they have one mistake early, he may just go away from it and not go back to him. So, man, I hope you're right. I hope this is the beginning of the end. That would be so nice.
Yeah, I mean, Alan Lazard's a good player, but he's not a true number one, and he's hurt this week. And, I mean, at some point, if the rookies are making mistakes, you'd think you could design an offense still to use them. It's not going to be perfect, but let's get some explosion in the offense, and it just doesn't seem like they're trending that way. So I would expect a lot of Aaron Jones for the time being, and whether it's passing game or running game, but he seems like their best player right now. So, yeah, I don't know. That defense is another big part of it. I thought Packers defense was going to be a lot better, and it's has not been good against the run, at least.
Yeah, they have a pretty good pass rush, but the run game, they're getting gashed a little bit there. But before I get you out of here, I got you on the show. I got to pick your brain about my guy Justin Fields. Yeah. We've seen in the last couple of weeks they kind of use him more in the run game. Where does the QB list have Justin Fields, Bears QB1 ranked right now?
Yeah, so we've got him this week QB 15. So that's ahead of Rodgers. So that sounds good, right? No, he was on our streamer segment for the Sit Start podcast. So he was about 39% rostered when we did this. He's been good lately. Like, the Bears play volume has gone up, which was a big thing from early in the year. It was just, if you only have the ball for, 12 plays a game, it feels like you're not going to get much fantasy production, but over 20 pass attempts for 4 straight games. He's second in the league in rushing attempts. So we love that. Obviously Dallas, like, their first in pressure rate, that's scary. It's a really good defense. I respect them a lot, but I don't know. I still think even if they are getting pressure, Fields is going to need to run, and that's where a lot of this fantasy production comes from anyway. So as someone who has a lot of Darnell Mooney still sitting on my benches, I hope this continues, because I love Mooney, and I still have faith in Mooney as well, but let's just get this deep passing game going, right?
I'm the same way. I have Mooney on 2 teams. He's on my bench, and I'm just like, when is he going to have his breakout game? Because, he's not a true, legit, wide receiver 1. Yeah. But the volume has been there last year. I figured it'd be there this year. It just hasn't happened. They're not clicking. They're not getting him deep on anything down the seam. They're not able to, scheme up any looks for him short. So I'm waiting for Darnell Mooney. And, at some point I got to make a call and try and get someone better there. But yeah, as a Bears fan, it's hard. And then let's talk about your Bengals real quick, man. Joe Burrow really lit it up, but who's going to take some of those reps with Chase now out?
Yeah, it's all going to be T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. I mean, luckily they have the best, probably top 3 receivers in the league. They've got like no depth behind that though. So I don't think there's going to be anyone new who pops up, but Boyd has really been incorporated in the offense a lot lately. He has played a little bit outside, like in the past. Back in the day, he was kind of their default number 1 receiver. So I do think he has more versatility than just your typical slot receiver. So I just expect a lot from Higgins, a lot from Boyd. Even Hayden Hurst, at tight end, he'll pick up some slack. So I think they've got the pieces here. It's obviously going to be a hit with Jamar Chase missing a few weeks. But it's still the way this league has been this year. I'll take my chances with Joe Burrow and a team that started to throw the ball a lot. Like some of these offenses are so bad. Like so I'll start anyone in the Bengals at this point. I think they'll put up pretty good production here.
It's a very strange year this year. Offenses are down, scoring is down, the games are closer. It's very strange. Do you think Joe Mixon will pick up a little bit in the running game for the Bengals?
I think that's kind of the Bengals fan fear, is that they're going to go back to the run, I think, and just run it up the middle every first down, that kind of thing. So that's a little bit of a worry, but if they can get a lead, yes, it has looked better. They've gone all shotgun, and he has had better efficiency running out of the shotgun. So I expect them to keep the shotgun RPO offense, but maybe a little more designed to mix it. He's been getting work in the passing game too. I think they view that as their running game as well. So Mixon certainly is going to pick up some of the load here.
Nice. Do you have anything else you want to close out with, or are you good here?
No, it's just nice. Yeah, it almost feels like a bye week with the Bengals playing Monday night, so I just get to sit back and enjoy the games today. And I oddly have a lot of faith in the offense, even without Jamar Chase right now. So I'm trying to be a positive Bengals fan right now. So in Burrow we trust. That's basically where we're at in Cincinnati right now.
It's definitely a fun offense to watch, regardless, because this Joe Burrow just does his thing. He's slinging around out there, and it's fun to watch.
Yeah.
It's always good if the team's not the best. Let's at least have some fun, which is as Bears fans, the early part of the season was just so brutal. So hopefully, as a Bears fan, things start trending upward for me. And like I said, win or lose, man, let's see this offense start doing some fun stuff here. But that's it, guys. That is the Gamblers Den. Erik, thanks so much. Make sure you guys all follow him at Erik Smith QBL. Shoot him your fantasy questions, man. He will answer those things for you, and that's where I get all my fantasy advice. And I'm much better in the fantasy aspect of things than I am in the gambling thing. So I appreciate what you guys do here for the show. So thanks so much, and everyone, have a good one. Have a good Sunday.